As we all know, is an essential unit in any society, and comprises of the husband and wife, and that may just be all, husband and wife, for some people. And in a normal structure, the gender of the husband is different from the gender of the wife, contrary to what is being pushed by some societies. Then if we extend the family, then we talk about the husband, wife, and then of course the children. It may be one child, it may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, according to preferences. Some societies run polygamous families, some run polyandry, and the rest. But either way, family, so long as the people in that structure can cope. Then of course, in school we were taught nuclear family, extended family, compound family. Now, all of these are essential, and they play their different roles. They play their different roles. Now, today's discussion will seem to be based essentially on nuclear family. And then, of course, this can be extended to other structures, other family structures. So number one is for us to look at the factors that can cause the family to be unhealthy. Once we can identify these factors, as we do in medicine, we can identify these pathologies, then we can decide on the appropriate investigations and treatment modalities. So we'll apply that principle here. So when we talk about health, we say that it is a situation in which everything is fine, physically, mentally, socially, and of course, if you are a spiritually conscious person, spiritually. So, but according to World Health Organization, it is a state of well-being, which includes mental, physical, social. Those three. I wanted to add spiritual. So now, what can cause a family not to be mentally healthy, physically healthy, and socially healthy? Number one is the choice and preferences. Choices and preferences. What do I mean? When a man or a lady is considering marriage, what are the choices and preferences? What are the choices and preferences in terms of the motive for marriage? When we are getting married, what are our motives? Are we marrying for money? Are we marrying for influence? You hear now people talk about, it's been a long time, contract marriage and the rest. But if you don't let your partner know, then there will be a problem. But if the two people involved already know that they are marrying for contract, when I get abroad, I pay you off, then I continue my life in America. Fantastic. In some societies, they do prenuptials. They sign contracts, and they say, okay, if this and such happen, and the rest. So motives. Then disclosures. You have to disclose certain things, previous sensitive relationships that can damage the current one. You have to disclose babies. So if these babies born out of the current wedlock are not disclosed, it can cause problem. Genotypes. If your genotype is AS and you don't disclose, and unfortunately the other partner is AS or SS to SS, and blood group is not really a problem, but genotype is usually one factor that can cause the family to be unhealthy. Infertility. We have seen some men that their families will hide that factor from the would-be wife. And sometimes the family may not know. It may just be the man that knows and is hiding it from everyone. And now they are blaming the poor lady, and vice versa. And vice versa. So all these have to be disclosed. Chronic illnesses like cancer, kidney problems, they need to be disclosed. Personality disorders. For example, Some families would not just want people to know what's wrong with their children because of stigmatization, so they tend to hide it. And then when these things, under whatever pressure manifests later, it is the other party that suffers the consequence and can make the relationship to become toxic. Now, let's move away from choices and preferences and disclosures and go to relationships. Now, the two are married. How do they relate? It's often said that a family that prays together stays together. And that's very key. Prayer is not just until you kneel down to pray as a family. You share thoughts, you share concerns. Oh, I have a business to do. Please, my wife, this the idea I have. And I know wives. Our wife just goes they go on their knees immediately, even without you being there, and they start praying for you. So, but it's also essential that the family prays together. In a very fast-paced society that we are now, you may not be able to do that every day, but as much as possible, you want to ensure, even if it's just weekends, that you can achieve that. You must find time to pray together. It is in the time of prayer that you will be able to know what are the concerns of your daughter, concerns of your son. You may not even say it, but the way they are saying amen can reveal a lot. It can reveal a lot. So it's good to pray together. Then a family that plays together, play. You have to play. It's not until you go to the eatery or you go on vacation that you play. Play. You get home frowning, you get home looking uptight. That's not healthy for the family. The son comes in and is looking so worried. Everybody has to gather around that boy and play with him so that, he will have a sense of support. So in terms of relationship, stay together, play together, pray together, cry together. Make sure concerns are shared, like I've said, laugh together. Unlike in digital age now where everybody is pressing phone, you must take time and say phone holiday. Families must take phone holidays. Then recreation choices. Like I said, some families don't like to go out on vacation. No matter how much you try. Buy tickets for them. They won't get on that plane. They're just used to snuggling together. I love this frame, the cruise. I love the way they sleep together. Everybody is rubbing bodies against the other. And that's beautiful. In fact, there are some families that you may have boys' room, girls' room. The girls would like to go and sleep in the boys' room because that's how they've grown up. Don't separate them. If that's what you have observed, if you see the boy going to the girls' room, don't mind, just leave him alone. Except if you notice that he's behaving like a girl, then you can start to, advising on balance. Then number 3, order and hierarchy. Order and hierarchy. There must be order in the family. We all know that in any family setting, traditional family setting, the husband is the head, the wife is the partner. See, I didn't say the wife is the tail or shoulder. The wife is the partner. And so that order needs to be maintained. Even if the wife is more influential politically, socially, financially, professionally, there has to be maintenance of order. So the husband also has to try as much as possible to ensure that he has a large heart to allow his wife, expand. It was said of Reverend Felix Adejuman, high regards to him, of Agape Ministry. Said your wife is always traveling around, she seems to be more popular than you. Are you not worried? And then he simply said, whenever she's introduced abroad, what do they call her? They said, Funke Adejuman. That's all I need. So long as she's using my name, that's fine by me. He said, so such order and hierarchy, when it is maintained in the family, keeps the family healthy. But when it is disturbed, then there can be a lot of toxicity and imbalance. Conflict resolution. Look, you cannot blame the older for the younger. That is the culture in our country. And I think it is the essence in any society, whether home, whether work, whether church, mosque, anywhere. We usually must maintain that order. We may not call and castigate the older one later, but we cannot afford to diminish the older before the younger. We must maintain the integrity in conflict resolution. And then when we know that something is not fair, we should not be in support of unfairness. So there must be fairness in the family. Then order and hierarchy allow bonding. Allow bonding. You know, when the older is giving instructions, we must back up the older at all times. At all times. If, however, the younger ones are complaining that the older one is a bit high-handed, then we create some family discussion to create balance, and you find that they bond. Part of bonding is for the parents to ensure that there is fairness. There must be nothing like camping. You know, in some families you have girls and maybe the boy, you know, on the side of the mother, and then the father has one or two other children. No, that must not ever be entertained. Then favoritism. Never ever should a parent say, this is my favorite child. No way. That is the beginning of problem. Remember the story of Father Jacob and Joseph and the 11 brothers. That can cause problems. So to allow bonding, we must not mention the word favorite among the children. Then, of course, the father, mother, and everyone has to adopt the attitude of live and let live. Then I move on to acceptance and rejection, and I love this a lot. Remember the story of the prodigal son? That father kept on waiting. So there are some children, for whatever reason, whether internal or external factors. Internal factors are the thoughts and perceptions or misperceptions that they have about society, you know, and then the external factors are peer pressure that may have allowed these children make funny and inconvenient and even embarrassing choices to the family. We cannot say, I disown you. Parents must avoid that. In the olden days, yes, our fathers and grandfathers used to get away with it. But now, if you try it, even before you say disown, the child is already in America and will never ever relate to you again. So we must avoid the word, I disown you, because we have to accept our family members as they are. That's how to remain. You see, I'm not talking about physical health, because if all of these are not in place, physical health is the least of the concern in anything or any discussion on family health. So conflict, acceptance, rejection, we must make sure that we don't reject any member of the family. They usually say blood is thicker than water. We rise together, we fall together. In unity we stand, in division we fall. So as a family, we must accept one another with all the assets and all the liabilities. Let's move on now to poor perception. I think I mentioned this earlier. An example is Cain. He had a wrong perception of his relationship to his brother. And that was why God said, you know your brother's keeper, so there must not be competitiveness. Cain was too competitive with his brother Abel, comparing productivity, comparing affection of the father and the rest. That was why eventually he decided to torture Father Isaac by marrying funny and strange girls. He did it deliberately. But later in life, after maturity, he was the one that came back to, hug his brother Jacob.